You ever just look up at the night sky and get this creepy feeling that we're not alone? Like, what if I told you that some of those unexplained lights up there might not be weather balloons or, misidentified planes or whatever?
Oh, I'm with you there. I get chills just thinking about it.
Right. That's what we're all about here on Forbidden Unveiled. I'm John Doe, your host, and with me is, well, you know her, Jane Doe, the one and only paranormal expert we trust to wade through all the weird stuff with us.
Hey everyone, glad to be back for another deep dive with you all.
Today we're tackling a case it's a big one. The 2004 USS Nimitz Tic Tac UFO incident.
Oh yeah, this one is a classic. It's got everything right. Eyewitness accounts from Navy pilots, that crazy footage everyone's seen, and even, get this, some possible underwater activity too.
Underwater. Like, hold up, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's back up a bit. Set the scene for us.
All right, so picture this. November 2004, off the coast of Southern California. The USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group is out there doing their usual training exercises when things take a turn for the strange.
Strange how? Give us the details.
Well, the USS Princeton, which is part of the Nimitz group, they start picking up these multiple unidentified objects on their radar. And these weren't just random blips, they were moving in ways no known aircraft could.
So, like, zigzagging all over the place.
Even crazier than that, we're talking speeds and maneuvers that would make even a Top Gun pilot sweat. These radar operators, they're trained to identify anything in the sky, and they were completely baffled.
Okay, so now we got these blips on a screen, but where do the Navy pilots come in?
Right, so enter Commander David Fravor, veteran pilot, Top Gun graduate, the real deal. He gets sent out with another pilot to check out these radar anomalies, and what does he see?
Don't leave us hanging.
He sees this thing, this Tic Tac-shaped object, white, about the size of an F-A-18 fighter jet. No markings, no wings, no exhaust plumes, nothing, just hanging out there in the sky.
No way. So it's just like floating there, defying gravity.
Pretty much. And it gets even weirder. Fravor says this thing started mimicking his movements, like it was playing tag with him. And then when he tried to get a closer look, boom, it just vanished.
Vanished, like poof, gone.
Gone. But hold on, it gets even crazier. Moments later, this same Tic Tac reappears on radar about 60 miles away.
60 miles in like seconds. How is that even possible?
That's what everyone was asking. I mean, think about the speed that would require. It's mind-blowing.
So we have a veteran pilot seeing this thing with his own eyes, but was there any other evidence? Like, what about that footage everyone talks about?
Oh, yeah, the footage. That's the thing that really sent this case into the stratosphere. You know that video that was released back in 2017? The one that shows this Tic Tac doing all sorts of impossible things?
The one that even the Pentagon admitted was real.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear footage, not grainy or blurry like a lot of UFO videos. You can actually see this thing moving in ways that no known aircraft can.
Right. And it's not just some blurry blob either. It's literally shaped like a Tic Tac. Like, who designed that thing?
Nobody knows. And that's what makes this case so fascinating, right? We have all this evidence, these credible witnesses, and yet we still have no idea what we're dealing with.
So we've got this Tic Tac thing defying gravity and physics, zipping around like it's nothing. But there's more, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned something about underwater activity.
Oh, yeah. Things are about to get really spooky.
Well, don't leave us hanging. What's the deal with the underwater stuff?
There are these reports, these sonar readings from different sources, saying that they were tracking these objects underwater at the same time they were being tracked in the air.
Hold on. You're telling me these things could, like, go from the sky to the ocean? Like it was nothing.
That's what it seems like, and that just adds a whole other layer of crazy to this already insane story.
Okay, now my head is officially spinning.
Yeah.
We've got unexplainable objects breaking the laws of physics in the sky, and now we're talking about them potentially dipping in and out of the ocean, too.
Yep, that's the Nimitz case for you. It's one for the books.
No kidding. This is like some next-level weirdness. But before we, I don't know, have an existential crisis or something, let's talk about how the government responded to all of this.
Oh yeah, because their response is almost as strange as the Tic Tac itself.
Buckle up for this one.
Yes.
So where were we? Oh, yeah, the government's response. You'd think with all these credible witnesses, the footage, the whole 9 yards, they'd be a little more, open about what happened.
Right, you'd think so. But instead we get, what, radio silence? Or maybe something even stranger?
Well, remember how the Pentagon has that, what is it called, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office?
AARO, right. The folks who are supposed to be figuring out what all these UAPs are.
Exactly, ARO. So they claim they can't find any radar data from the Nimitz incident. Like, poof, It just vanished.
Come on, that's a little hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, we have all these witnesses who are tracking these objects on radar for days. Right. It's not like those radar systems just erase data for fun. And we're not talking about some rookie operators here. These are highly trained professionals who know their stuff.
One of those guys, Kevin Day, he was a senior chief on the USS Princeton. He tells a pretty different story.
Oh, yeah, Kevin Day. He's been pretty vocal about what he saw. He claims he was tracking groups of these Tic Tacs appearing way up high, like around 80,000 feet, and then, get this, dropping down to 20,000 feet in less than a second.
Whoa, 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 hold on. 80,000 feet. That's like practically the edge of space.
It is. And then dropping down to, what, commercial airline cruising altitude? Like, it was nothing.
That's insane. And he's saying this happened multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times. And his account is backed up by other witnesses and that released footage, so it's not like he's just making this up. But here's the thing that really bugs me. Day says all the radar data from the Princeton, along with sonar data from other ships, it was all compiled and sent to a naval base in San Diego.
So it exists somewhere.
It should, unless, of course, someone made it disappear.
Okay, that's getting a little too X-Files for me. Why all the secrecy? Are they trying to hide something?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are they so afraid of?
Maybe they know exactly what these things are, and they don't want the public to freak out. Or maybe, just maybe, it's something even stranger than we can imagine.
Who knows? But the lack of transparency is definitely suspicious. It's like they're trying to sweep the whole thing under the rug.
Speaking of sweeping things under the rug, let's dive back into the underwater activity. This whole USO thing just freaks me out.
I know, right? It's like, what's lurking down there in the depths? Something that can move between air and water like it's nothing.
Yeah, that's the part that really gets to me. What kind of technology would even allow for that? It's like something out of a science fiction movie.
I know. And it's not just those vague sonar readings either. There are multiple reports from different sources, including that sonar officer we talked about earlier, who said they were tracking these things underwater at the same time they were being tracked in the air.
So it's not just some random glitch or misinterpretation of the data.
Yeah.
These guys knew what they were seeing.
They were adamant about it. They were tracking these objects moving at incredible speeds underwater, making sharp turns, and accelerating in ways that just shouldn't be possible.
Okay, so now we've got these things not only defying physics in the air, but underwater too.
It's like they're playing by a different set of rules, rules that we don't even understand.
It's mind-boggling, and it makes you wonder if maybe, just maybe, our current understanding of physics is just too limited. Maybe we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Right. What if these objects operate on principles that we haven't even discovered yet? What if we're just scratching the surface of what's possible?
Okay, I need a minute to process all of this. We've got these unexplainable objects zipping around in the sky and the ocean, ignoring everything we know about physics. We have all these witnesses, video evidence, and the government basically saying, nope, we don't know what that is.
It's a lot to take in, for sure. It's like someone just ripped a hole in our reality and showed us a glimpse of something truly mind-blowing.
And the craziest part, the Nimitz incident isn't even an isolated event. It's part of a much larger pattern of UAP encounters, especially with the Navy.
It's true. And it's not just in recent years either. These kinds of reports have been coming in for decades.
It's almost like our ships are acting as giant beacons for these things, like they're drawn to our technology or something.
It's definitely a pattern that needs further investigation, but it's not just about figuring out what these things are. It's about understanding why they're here, what they want, and what it all means for us.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Are they just curious observers, or is there something more to it?
And if they are so technologically advanced, what does that say about our own place in the universe?
It's enough to make you question everything you thought you knew. But before we spiral down that rabbit hole too far, there's one more thing we need to talk about. Remember those reports about data tapes being erased or confiscated?
Oh, yeah. That whole thing is just fishy. It's like someone really didn't want this information getting out.
Like really, really didn't want it out there. One of the guys on the Nimitz, Gary Voorhees, who's a petty officer, he said he was actually ordered to turn over all the data recordings from the AGI's radar system.
The AGA system, that's their top-of-the-line radar, right? The kind they use to track missiles and enemy aircraft.
The best of the best. And he's saying they erased all the data. Why would they do that?
That's what everyone wants to know. And it wasn't just him. Other witnesses said they saw people in flight suits taking bags of stuff off the ship. Like, what was in those bags?
So we have all these credible witnesses saying that there's evidence, hard data, that could potentially explain what happened.
Hmm.
But it's all gone. vanished into thin air.
It's more than a little suspicious, isn't it? It's like they're trying to cover something up.
It's like someone is saying, don't look over here, nothing to see here.
And that just makes you wonder, what are they so afraid of? What don't they want us to know?
It's enough to make even the biggest skeptic raise an eyebrow. But, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. However, don't worry, we're not done with the Nimitz Tic Tac incident just yet. All right, so we're back, and I don't know about you, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything we've talked about with this Nimitz Tic Tac thing.
Oh, me too. It's like every time we peel back another layer, we find even more weirdness.
It's like one giant rabbit hole, and we're just falling deeper and deeper.
But hey, that's what makes this stuff so fascinating, right?
Absolutely. But here's the thing that's really starting to bug me. This Nimitz incident, it's not like it's a one-off, right? It's part of a bigger pattern.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We've got these UAP encounters happening all over the place, but especially around U.S. Navy ships and personnel.
It's like these objects have a particular interest in what the Navy's up to. Like, what's so special about our ships?
Well, the Navy does have some pretty advanced technology, right? Maybe
Hmm.
these things are drawn to it, like moths to a flame.
Or maybe, and I know this might sound a little out there, maybe they're trying to send us a message. Like, hey, we're here, pay attention.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, if you were an advanced civilization observing another species, wouldn't you be curious about their military capabilities?
I guess so. But even if they are just curious observers, the technology they're displaying is just, well, it's mind-blowing. And it's not just the Tic Tacs, right? We've got reports of all sorts of objects doing things that defy our understanding of physics.
Exactly. And that brings us to one of the most fascinating aspects of this whole UAP phenomenon, these transmedium objects.
Transmedium. You mean like objects that can move between different environments, like air, water, even space?
That's exactly what it means. It's like something out of a superhero comic book, right?
Right.
These things can fly at hypersonic speeds in the atmosphere, dive underwater like a submarine, and maybe even zip off into space.
Okay, now that's just crazy.
Mhm.
And you're saying we have evidence that these things actually exist.
We have multiple reports from credible witnesses, including military personnel, who claim to have seen these objects transition between different environments seamlessly.
If that's true, it completely changes everything, doesn't it? I mean, we're not talking about just a new type of aircraft. We're talking about a technology that's so advanced, it's like magic.
It is like magic, and it makes you wonder, what else are they capable of? What other secrets are they hiding?
Right. Like,
Yeah.
if they can do that, what else can they do? It's both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
I know what you mean. It's like we've stumbled onto something truly profound, something that could change our understanding of the universe and our place in it.
And yet we're still treating this whole UAP thing like it's some kind of joke. Like it's all just a bunch of conspiracy theories and hoaxes.
I know, it's frustrating. We need to take this seriously. We need more research, more transparency from the government, and most importantly, we need to have an open and honest conversation about what all of this means.
I couldn't agree more. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and pretend this isn't happening. It's too important. The potential implications are just too huge to ignore.
Absolutely. This is about more than just satisfying our curiosity about UFOs. This is about understanding the potential threats and opportunities presented by a technology that could be far beyond anything we've ever imagined.
And it's about facing the reality that we might not be alone in the universe, that there might be other intelligent beings out there watching us, maybe even interacting with us in ways we don't fully understand.
It's a lot to take in, but it's a conversation we need to have. And the Nimitz Tic Tac incident, with all its strangeness and unanswered questions, it's a perfect example of why we need to take this seriously.
So where do we go from here? What can our listeners do to help get to the bottom of this?
Well, for starters, keep asking questions. Don't be afraid to challenge the official narratives. Do your own research, share your findings, and keep the conversation going.
And don't be afraid to look up at the sky and wonder, because there's a whole universe out there full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered.
That's right. And who knows what incredible discoveries await us if we're just brave enough to seek them out.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the Nimitz Tic Tac incident. But as always, we want to hear from you.
What are your thoughts on this mind-boggling case? Do you think we're alone in the universe? Share your theories and join the conversation online.
And don't forget to subscribe to Forbidden Unveiled so you don't miss our next deep dive into the unknown. Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.